Hi, I'm Mike,
I'm Alex.
and this is NFGeeks.
Yes.
Alex, welcome back. Good to see you, my man.
Good to see you too, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex, I'm glad you're here. You know, you have a fan base now, coming
Of course.
here, as our special guest.
A cult,
Yeah, it is kind of like a cult.
Sure.
All right, Alex, for our first installment tonight, you
Mhm.
had an idea that you wanted to talk about, and I think it would resonate to a lot of people.
Right, yes.
So,
a lot of introverts.
Yes.
Yeah. Introverted burnout. Because I noticed in the last videos we only made 2. We made like 4 or 5, but we ended up editing those out because they weren't very good. And I noticed that in those videos, the last videos we made, when I was watching them, I was burned out because we spent a lot of time before the videos and everything, and like just talking and spending the whole day, and just when I spend too much time with people, I get physically tired, and that's what I find strange about it is that it's not that I'm bored, it's that I'm actually physically tired. I was yawning in those videos, and I noticed that, and I was not myself, and I really didn't like the videos, honestly, because it just didn't feel like me. I wasn't as witty. I wasn't as, much of a douchebag as I normally am.
There wasn't enough dickness.
Yes, there wasn't enough dickness.
We got to turn up the dick.
Yeah.
We couldn't get it up there.
Oh God.
All right, what I'd like to do. All right. Well, first, let me tell you, if I had a nickel, every introverted person talked about this a little bit. What I'd like to do is, if you could tell me directly the experience as an INTJ, how does it relate to an INTJ specifically, or for you specifically as an INTJ? Because I think it might be different from type to type.
Well, it happens with everyone. I mean, no one's immune to it. Even ENFPs that I get along the best with, I'm most compatible with, even then I get tired after spending too much time with them.
That seems impossible, but okay.
I know,
no,
right?
I know.
But or an ENTP friend that I've had for years. After spending too much time with him, I get tired. Not bored, just like tired. And as soon as I'm by myself, I instantly wake up, and I'm fine as soon as I'm home alone, and just in my little space and just on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. Just trolling,
Like a good INTJ.
Yes, that is a troll. That is an INTJ invention, trolling.
Yes. How does this interfere with your thought process or your theoretical process? And when has it? Does it happen in class?
I think just being an introvert in general, whether if you're burned out or not, it interferes because there's 100 times more going on up here than there is that's coming out here.
Boy, you just spoke for every introvert.
Yes, I did. I am your voice.
Yes, absolutely. All right, what is it for you? What is it that's going on that you can't get out? When you're trying to get something out, what exactly is it that you're trying to get out, you think? Is it a concept, an abstract thing, a process?
I think it's an abstract thing because the process and the concepts you can explain logically, and you can an INTJ can put that into order and a 1-2 step, and they can explain that pretty well. I feel, but the abstract concepts, that's a bit more vague and a bit more subjective, and that's where the INTJ I feel has more difficulty expressing that.
Wow. Now, do you think this relates to the social awkwardness that sometimes INTJs deal with? I'm sort of just talking off the top of my head here.
I think Brad made a pretty good point on one of the NFGeeks episodes. INTPs are more awkward and INTJs are more weird. I think Brad had a very good point on that.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
Right, but
all right, so then how does this affect your weirdness?
Okay, sure. Well, I'm not sure if this is related to introversion, but as an INTJ, I'll make a comment or a joke that's supposed to be funny, but it's really morbid or fucked up, and
Yeah, no kidding.
And people will look at me like weird, like Dan in College Democrats, he's actually called me Joe Biden because I say things that get him into trouble.
They get him into trouble.
That gets Dan into trouble, yes. Like right when we're meeting an important political figure, I'll just say something. I remember one time when we met Elizabeth Warren,
Really?
Yes, we met Elizabeth Warren. We were talking to someone involved in the campaign, and I was wearing all black.
Like a good INTJ.
Yeah, good INTJ, yep. And someone said to me, "Oh, are you going to a clergy?" And I said, "Oh, I hope not, or I'll get transferred." And Dan just was like,
Yeah, Dan's very sensitive to those types of things. You know, he's always trying to be smooth and, you know, calculating it out. Poor Dan. All right.
Yep.
Well, let me, you know, to bounce off your ideas, you know, obviously as an extrovert, I have the opposite problem.
Right.
You know, no matter, even if we're talking stupid bullshit, I can still go. Like, I think if you see in the same thing, like, I didn't, like, get tired. I'm not as nearly as tired as you in those videos. But in the, when I'm alone, I can't take it. Like, one of the reasons why I do interviews is that I really can't just sit here and just talk by myself. I've done a few like that, obviously, but really few. There's only like 2, 3.
We know how well that turned out.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There may be Return of the SJ. You never know. But it's very hard for me to do it on my own than it is to do it like this. I need people to be around. And one of the things that happens to me, and I'd like to hear the INTJ equivalent, because I'm an ENFP and I need to be with people. I also drive people away. You know, because they can't take it anymore. Or when people want the introversion, they want their alone time, I get batty because, you know, that means I have to be alone too, you know, in some ways, you know, and that's leaving me hanging, and I start having a freak out. So is there any opposite equivalent? Like, do you drive people away? Do people come to you because you're introverted? What's the, you know?
It's kind of interesting, actually, that you mentioned that about people coming to me, because a lot of people say that I'm a very interesting person for some reason.
Oh yeah, and I feel the same way.
I've always found that odd. Wow, really? I'm interesting. And they always come to me for, I don't know, advice or ask me questions, or just, and I've always been amazed by that and kind of puzzled by it. Just like, wow.
Well, what's the puzzle? Like, why is this so puzzling? Because I feel the same way about you.
Well, that's because you're an ENFP, sure.
All right, true, but I find all the INTJs that we know are interesting people. Harvester's very interesting.
Yes, he is, yep.
Megatron is very interesting.
He is, yep.
They're all interesting people. All right, so why are you shocked? Because they might be shocked too. I could see them saying something similar. Why? I mean, is your assessment of yourself saying, geez, I'm not interesting? Like, do you think you're boring? Or
No.
Like,
I
are you...
something I'm boring.
What's the disconnect?
It's just that I'm surprised that I just come off as so appealing to people. I didn't think that they would want to, like, waste their time with me. Or that, you know.
See, that's kind of the alienated thing happening.
Sure, yeah. And one thing about extroverts too, I was this actually made me think of this when we were at a meeting one time with Charlemagne.
Oh, Charlemagne, yes.
Charlemagne, yes. I remember one time he was trying to explain about, like, throwing trash into the sun. Do you remember this? This is a while ago.
Yes. I actually agreed with this. Yes.
Yes, we all did pretty much, except for David.
Right. So let's give it. So our idea was in this group is that the way to get rid of pollution and trash is just to launch it into the sun. So we just launch it. Like, why not? Just put on the rockets, and you don't even need a lot of fuel. The sun's gravity will take it at some point. Right. Sure. And so the sun could be a giant trash incinerator. All right. So what was the issue?
Well, the issue is that Charlemagne, he was trying to explain it, and he did very well, but the thing is, there was almost too much going on here that he just couldn't fully express.
Yes.
Know? So, David kind of got it, but he kind of didn't. You know, you could tell he almost got it, but he just couldn't really kind of grasp it. And I think that's because of the extroverted thinking. Introverted thinking, I think, is more compatible than extroverted thinking. Likewise, extroverted feeling, I think, is more compatible than introverted feeling.
That's interesting.
Because, you know, a feeling types, they enjoy being with other people, obviously.
Yeah.
So being introverted, that's kind of like a contradiction almost.
Sure, that is. Right. Then, Dave was like that.
Right.
Dave liked being with people and hated being with people at the same time.
And same thing with being an extrovert thinking, as opposed, like, thinking is, you know, up here. So being up here, but But yeah, at the same time, being an extrovert, that's a contradiction. Whereas
Yeah.
being an introvert and a thinker, that's more compatible.
Sure, one of my own contradictions I've had is that I'm an extroverted intuitive, but I'm an introverted feeler. And so even though I'm a very extroverted person, people seem to miss that. Like sometimes I'm hurt, sometimes I'm upset. Like they don't, even though I'm extroverted and everything's like blah 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 coming out of me, like a fountain all the time.
Right. Yep.
People miss, like they don't. You were mad, you were hurt, you were upset. Like I've had that my whole life, even though I'm an extrovert. So there's something like disconnecting with others on that. Even other NFs, like it's not just like, oh, well, the SJs, of course, they don't care, they want to kill you.
Well,
but
NTs are obviously, we're like, you're upset? What?
Right, I'm smart enough to know I don't even ask the NTs that. It's just, it's unfair. This is when I want to get to the NFs again. It's unfair to do that to the NTs.
Yes, it is.
It is.
You can't. We don't know.
Right, it's outside their boundaries. You're asking them to not be NTs. That's not fair. But even the other NFs don't always get it. They don't know. They miss it sometimes.
Right, because I think it's because feelings, we focus more on our feelings. Naturally, we focus more on our feelings than our emotional needs and others. It's just only natural to do that. So I think that's probably why the NFs might be like that. Because you're not meeting their emotional demands, probably.
Well, fuck
No,
them.
not intentionally.
Stupid NFs.
Well, not intentionally.
We're drinking.
Yes, we blame it on the booze.
Yeah, that's right. We're drinking. I decided to join Alex tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, good job.
Disclaimer, anything that we say on these episodes that you don't like, we blame it on the booze.
That's right. We're loaded.
Yes.
Well, you convinced me. I watched enough videos with you and be like, shit, why aren't I drinking? All right. So when has this? Let's get back to your introverted, sort of burnout. When has it really hurt you? Like when has it really failed you, or not failed you, but when has it really sent you off your center or off track? And not have to be specific, but what are moments where really you're like, oh man, this really just interfered with everything?
Probably just like when I need to or be with someone because there's something that, like a project or something that I have to do to accomplish for school or work or whatever, but I've just had enough of people. That's probably where introverted burnout gets to me the most, probably, because I have no choice in this. It's not like I'm hanging out with friends where I can say, oh, guys, I feel like going home. I'm at work or school, I have to bite the bullet and put up with it.
Oh my god. Do you become more irritable? Do you become, like, what happens to you when you have the burnout?
I become more tired.
Really, that's it?
I become more tired, yep. And I can probably be more irritable and more cranky, probably.
Sure.
But I become more tired. I'm yawning, I'm dozing off.
Does this happen with Dan when you're doing with his stuff?
I think it happens with everyone, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, but it happens just about with everyone. Even surprisingly with other introverts. Even like Harvester.
Really?
Yeah, and even the Academy. As much as I love the Academy, towards the end I'm always like, all right, I'm good. I've had enough.
So, all right, you want to go home?
Right. Yeah. But it's strange though, because as soon as we leave, and we're out of that area and we're outside, again I'm fine. And then people ask me, "Oh, do you want to go out to eat?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Why not?"
Wow. That's so it's really just an energy thing.
Right. Yes. It is.
It's a complete energy thing. And like all introverts, you get recharged at some point.
Yep.
Is there anything that interferes with the recharging specifically? What are specific? All right, let me reframe because I have to think outside my head. All right, this is what I'm thinking. Facebook and other internet things are sort of this fake interaction. This hyper reality, but still, it's sort of like an interaction. Do you ever get the introverted burnout from anything you do online? And if you don't, why? And you got about 40 seconds.
Okay. Well, somewhat, because I do get into long debates with people on Facebook.
Including me.
Yes, that will go on for days.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll just...
Right. Paragraphs and paragraphs going
But
down.
that's a bit easier, because then you can take a break, and then you can come back, and...
Okay.
And there's time in between each comment.
So it's controlled.
Exactly. It's a controlled environment, or somewhat controlled, in the sense that, there is, you at least know that there is some time in between each comment.
And you could stop.
Right.
And get back to it at some other point.
Right, exactly.
So it doesn't burn you out.
Right.
Whereas if you're in the presence of people,
But eventually, if it gets repetitive, then yes, it does wear on me, and I'm like, all right, this is getting nowhere.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thanks, Alex. That was a great idea.
Of course. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yep.